Hey friends, I am a couple days late in making this, but I've been a little busy and working and tired, etc. But on Monday, I had my first consultation. I met with Dr. Beverly Fischer. Drove down to her office with my girlfriend. It's outside of Baltimore, and it is a cosmetic surgery center. So it is in what looks like an office park, but it is they do all the procedures there, and it's not a hospital, and it doesn't necessarily have entire hospital-y vibes, but it definitely has a little of that, like you walk in and you know that sterile things happen. It was fine. It looked really nice in the front and stuff. It just still had that. I get a little, hospital phobic. We'll get to that. So I got in. It was a little early. They had me fill out all their new patient forms. Really basic stuff. Are you allergic to this? Where do you live? That kind of thing. We're very nice about like when can we contact you or when can we contact you, which I thought was really cool for a med center, and they were good about gender, obviously. It was $100 for the consultation, which I honestly I have nothing to compare that to. I know it's $100 more than free. That's about all I know. But first I met with a nurse. It was very, very nice. She went over cost with me. The cost for both keyhole and double incision is $8,450. And she went over sort of the timing of the surgery. She said that most patients come the Monday before. They do almost all their operations on Tuesdays, so you have your operation Tuesday morning, and then you stay over Tuesday night. And she said that because I'm living in Brooklyn, she said that I could actually go back the day after surgery if I had someone sign off and say that they would take the drains out for me, which she said a lot of their patients in New York City do, which I thought was interesting and something to look into. Otherwise, she said you're welcome to stay until the next Tuesday and get your drains taken out there. She asked me questions, how long I'd been living as a guy. They're very cute and very respectful about that kind of stuff, which is always really nice, sort of in contrast to other doctors' offices that were like, you are this body. I don't want to hear anything else. Asked me, like, cup size, asked me what procedure I wanted. Again, I told her I would really like periareolar, keyhole, but that I was open to double incision as well. And then she had me take my clothes off from waist up, give me a nice robe, took a couple selfies in it. Then the doctor came in. She was very, very nice. We chatted for a while. She was like, "Oh, you don't have to take the robe off. Just flash me real quick." But so she measured. The measurement that she took, I believe, was from like my nipple to the like where the sort of crease under is. I don't know how much more descriptive I can be without being more descriptive than I want to be. But so she measured both sides, and it was, I still was like, the thing I was most excited to find out, I think, was whether or not I was a candidate for keyhole. And she's talking to me, she goes, well, on this side, you're an ideal candidate, but then there's this side, and, like, praise be the gods of asymmetry, I guess. I don't know. She said I'm a borderline candidate for keyhole. She said I could still do it, that it might take a revision, which was sort of her keyword, is that like it might not look great until you do a revision. She described it as looking like someone who'd recently lost a ton of weight, which I took to mean just like excess skin where you don't want there to be excess skin. She said I didn't have to decide till they wheeled me into surgery, though, which was cool and good to have that. So then she starts telling me about the procedure in like an appropriate amount of detail for a normal person, but I am super weenie. Let's see. A brief history of the places and the reasons why I fainted include when I was 6 and got my first teeth to cavity filled when I was 3, and my newborn baby sisters were getting shots. And when my stepbrother found out he had diabetes, and I was just thinking about the act of having diabetes and passed out in the shower. I'm a super weenie, and when she got to the part about drains and like possible complications, I could feel myself preparing to pass out, and thankfully she noticed. They got me some water and like lifted my legs up on the exam table, and I was telling them like this always happens to me. Somehow I learned to give myself testosterone injections. And they were like, "Oh, it's okay, it's okay," but I felt like really kind of a royal wuss. But that's me. So we talked some more. I asked about how recovery felt. She said that a lot of patients reported like some discomfort, but it not being the worst. She said 4 weeks until you're released to full activity, which is cool. I asked her how people hid their drains. And she was telling me a little bit about like the compression binder and sort of the logistics of what you're dealing with post-surgery. I asked if drains were as repulsive as they sound, because right now I think that's what grosses me out the most. And she was like, "No, they're not that bad," and then sort of thought and remembered that there I was with my legs up in the air and still having the color come back to my face, and she just goes, "You're not going to like the drains, so we'll deal with it. That's fine." I talked to her a little bit about asking like how I could prep my body for surgery in terms of like working out chest muscles and stuff. I've been lifting. I feel like I'm coming out as a gym bro, but no, I've been lifting weights and stuff and anticipate like focusing on building chest muscles. I like it. She said it can help, but it's not sort of the end of the world if you don't do it. So they went over pricing with me. Again, I had to sign a form saying I understood. The only flat fee for them is the $8,450. But then there's the prescriptions you have to get, cost of hotel and travel, that kind of stuff. They ask you to come back 6 weeks after, it sounded like. So that's something to consider too. And $845 of that is due when you book your date. And then the rest of it is due 3 weeks before surgery, she said. So they gave me a book of photos to look at. And it was all fine. I mean, it all looked good. What I was most interested in is there were a couple of borderline in there, and they noted like photos before they went in for revisions. And they just sort of, after looking at that, and I don't want to like shit on anyone's results, obviously, but I just think, like, given how delicate of a constitution I have around surgical procedures, I don't want to have to go in for a revision. And I also think that it would, I think it would sort of break my heart a little bit if I, like, went through all of this and then the first, like, reveal was, like, I already knew I was going back for a revision. So I think I'm going to go double incision. It feels like the safer way to go, just to get like a result that I know is going to be pretty good. So that was a lot. Next steps for me include figuring out where and if I could get drains taken out in the city, just to keep that option open. Because recovering at home sounds really nice. And researching other surgeons, especially if I'm going to do double incision. Part of why I was really keen on getting in to see Fischer was for the keyhole. And I'm just interested in exploring options, which seems smart. And that's about it. Yeah, that's about it for now. This has been plenty long. But thanks for listening. Again, let me know if you have any questions or things you want me to talk about and cover. Yeah, and take care.